Are you someone that has effective communication skills? Do you speak clearly and make your point known? Or are you someone that dominates the conversation and ends up having to backtrack and repeat what you said to make it sound like it's more along the lines of, well, that's not what I meant, this is what I meant? And are you a good listener? Do you give that other person a chance to say what they need to say, understand their feelings, and understand their point of view?
Yeah, join us today as we are discussing effective communication and listening skills. And this is whether it's with your partner, family, friends, or colleagues. Clear communication can make a world of difference.
Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to the Joy Without Justification podcast. We are your one-stop spot for peace, purpose, and presence. No explanation is needed. I'm your host, Denny.
And I'm Dan. So, first we're going to take a look at one of the most important pieces of effective communication, and that's listening, being an active listener. So what's that mean? That means that someone who is actively listening is going to take their time. They're going to be quiet, let the other person speak. They're going to be present, fully immersed in the moment. You want to let that other person finish what they're saying. You don't want to jump in and interrupt. And I'm guilty of this. As someone's talking, you kind of get an idea spring into your head and you want to say it so bad because to you it's so important. And if you kind of rush in and drop that bomb that you have that you want to say, it can derail the conversation. And the person you're talking to maybe has something really important that they want to say, but now you've derailed them. So you're really not listening and you're not really getting the true fruit of what that person wants to communicate to you. So always let the other person completely finish what they've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, we're all pretty guilty of that. Everybody does that, where somebody's talking, but you have a thought or whatever that you want to say, and they either put their hand up or their finger up to let you know that no, I'm talking first.
Right.
And exactly. That's one thing that a lot of people need to learn and practice and work hard at.
Yes.
And another one is we need to try to understand their perspective, the other person's perspective, not just their words. We need to make eye contact. You need to nod as they're talking and make sure that you're nodding appropriately to what they're saying and understanding what they're saying. And if you do not understand what they're saying, you need to ask them to clarify what they are saying.
Yes, there's so much truth in that. We don't really listen to what people are saying, or we don't really try to hear their perspectives sometimes. I think especially around certain topics. We have our mind made up. This is what I believe, and you're not really trying to see their perspective. And that's failed communication as well, I think.
Well, that's because I think a lot of people are, you may have your feeling about this, but my feelings come first.
Right.
And so nobody wants to listen properly and closely to what other people have to say.
That's true.
They want their voice heard. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's wrong. Yes, you should be heard.
Yeah.
But so should they.
Right. And I think sometimes when you really understand what their perspective is, it might change the way you view the issue that you're discussing. So That's important. And on the communication side, you really want to make sure that you're expressing yourself clearly and be concise. That's got to be important. Make sure that you're mindful with your tone and your body language.
Yeah. And remember, communication is a two-way street. Don't just dump information. Create a space for dialogue.
Yep. And sometimes, even with the best intentions, communication can break down. So how? I mean, again, if we're not really listening to what they're saying, if we're preparing what we're going to say, you're breaking down communication. If you're stuck on an opinion and you don't want to hear their view, you're breaking down communication. And you, believe it or not, may be wrong. And if you would listen to them and let them explain themselves, you may come around. There's so many ways that we allow communication to break down and not be complete.
Yeah, and especially nowadays, you got everybody on their phones. Nobody wants to put that phone down. It's like it's glued right to their
Oh
face.
my God, I know.
So as you're talking to somebody who's doing nothing but looking at their phone and paying more attention to either what's on Facebook or what their boyfriend or girlfriend may have sent them a picture of.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
have
healthy.
someone I work with that when I have to have a conversation, their phone's in their face. And I just politely tell them now, when you're got free time, we'll talk.
Yep.
Because, and I'm not trying to be mean, but number one, you are making me feel what I have to say is invaluable. And you're showing me you're not interested.
Yeah.
So.
And it's at those times like that we need to just take a deep breath. It's okay to pause and gather your thoughts before responding and let the other person know you're trying to understand that they maybe are busy right now. Maybe let's come back later and we can discuss this at another time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and sometimes just a change of scenery can help. Maybe take a walk together. If the conversation is being derailed, maybe come back at a later time. Just try to make, allowances to get what you have to say out.
Yeah, and everybody has a busy schedule nowadays. And if you're the one that maybe is the busy person, let's say, because something on your phone has your attention more importantly than who's talking to you, then also be the one to say, look, can we come back to this later?
Yeah.
I'm busy right now. I've got a situation going on at home or whatever. Can we discuss this at a later time? You let me know what's good for you.
Right. Now, that was something I did when I was a manager. People would come knock on my door. And if I was typing up something or, being busy and it was something I could stop, I stopped.
Yeah.
I gave them my full attention. But if it was something pressing, I would, say, hey, I've got to get this report finished. I'm free at 2:00. Let's meet at 2:00. I gave them the ability to get my full attention.
Oh, yeah, because sometimes you had like those Teams meetings where you had every manager in that chain on. And, you can't just stop a meeting of a bunch of people just to discuss. And that person also needs to be somebody willing to understand, okay, yes, Dan, I will come back later and we can talk about it then.
Yep, absolutely. So let's just take a quick moment to set a positive intention for our communication.
So repeat this affirmation after me. I will communicate with clarity and empathy. I will listen with an open mind and a caring heart. Let's repeat that again. I will communicate with clarity and empathy. I will listen with an open mind and a caring heart. So now back to our discussion, Dan. We talked about active listening and clear communication. But what about those times when emotions start running high?
Well, I think you got to acknowledge those emotions. You got to validate them. So if someone's, telling me something that's making me upset, and I might have to say, I'm a little, caught off guard. I'm upset. Give me a few minutes to process this, or, hey, what you're saying is causing, this reaction. We have to be mindful of that, especially, with the political climate. And we're not discussing politics. I don't care what anybody believes one way or the other. But sometimes it happens. And I'm going to give you an example. When we'd go to visit my father, he wanted to give political commentary on everything. And him and I didn't agree. Our politics were different. And my dad wanted to fight. He just wanted to fight. So to keep the peace and to, not get into that where it was causing me grief and really him, we would just say, look, we're here to visit. We're not going to discuss politics. And if it continued, you had to end the conversation.
I would, when that time was coming, because I didn't want to hear it, I didn't want to deal with it, that's not what we were there for, I'd get up and go outside.
Yeah.
I'd walk away from it all.
Yeah, right. Because it didn't go anywhere. It just made both of us angry at each other, and it wasn't worth it. So I think sometimes you have to set those boundaries, and if you're going to engage in that political discussion, we need to quit thinking we're on the Jerry Springer show. We need to have civil discourse, and you need to openly hear each other. It doesn't mean you got to agree, but you should be civil anyway.
But yes, and you do, though, need to be assertive. You need to be assertive. You need to know when and where your boundaries are, and make it clear using I statements, but doing so without blaming the other person.
Right. And there's certain, topics that aren't open for discussion for me personally as an individual. And I set those boundaries if they start going that way. So yeah, communication is a skill that really takes practice. You got to be patient with yourself, and you've got to celebrate your successes, and learn from your mishaps. Reschedule things if emotions are high. You are in charge of your reaction. And I think that's the biggest thing is we have become reactionary. We don't respond. We just let it all out like that. And we got to learn not to do that. So yeah, while we're on it, I want to thank you for listening, and don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Joy Without Justification. We post bonus content and behind the scenes snippets there. So come check us out.
And of course, you can always email us at joywithoutjustification@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. So tune in next time when we will be discussing how silence is golden. And on that note, thanks for joining us today. Take care of yourselves. And as always, enjoy life and peace out.